taste, touch, hearing and sight. What are all those? What are all the senses? Lovely, thank you. And that's what we're thinking a little bit about, Easter and the senses today. But I've got a mystery bag at the end. I wonder if anyone has a sixth sense and can guess what might be in my bag. I'm not going to tell you, but you can ponder that as we go through our little talk for this morning. Now, I was wondering whether the children, there's different things in each of these bags, whether the children might like to come and give me a hand. Would anybody like to come and have a look in the first bag, which has smell on it? And I guarantee it isn't too smelly. Yes. Would you like to come, Gwen? That would be lovely. Come and have a look. So, have a look and see what you can find. So, in this first one here.
Am I meant to smell it?
If you take it out, thank you. And then tell us what. Do you want to turn around and show the congregation? So what is it?
French vanilla.
French vanilla. Now, do you want to squirt a bit on your hand and see what it smells like? Can you manage? Well done. Is it nice?
It smells really strong.
Would you like to spread it around just a tiny bit? Spread. Come down a bit, Gwen. So, yeah, go down the aisle a bit. Go down there. You're not doing that, Ken. You'll have to come forward a bit later. French vanilla, air freshener. So, why would we have perfume in our first bag? You might like to think about that. Well, the reason is that near the beginning of the Easter story, Jesus was having a meal at the home of his friends, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. And then if you know the story, you'll remember that Mary did a rather surprising thing.
Mary took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. She poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume.
Interesting. Well, I wonder what that room might have smelt like. Was it French vanilla? Don't know. Maybe it was a sweet smell. Maybe it was quite overpowering. And I wonder what the disciples would have thought at this woman putting perfume on Jesus' bare feet in the middle of a meal. Maybe they were a bit embarrassed. Why would Mary have done that for Jesus? Well, I think maybe because she wanted to show her love for him. She wanted to give him the very best thing she had. It was her way of worshipping him. So, next time you smell a beautiful smell, or if you catch a whiff of the French vanilla, let's remember Mary, who gave Jesus her very best, and pray that we can do the same. So that was our first bag. Now, would anybody like to come and have a little look in my second... Oh, Phoebe, come and have a look. What is in the second bag? Would you like to come and see? Now, there are a few things in this bag. Have a little look. So what can you find? Oh, we've got a few things in here. Lovely. So if you put them on the table, yes. Can you tell us what you found?
Bread, a cup, and
Wine. It is wine. Would you like to have a taste of the bread and tell me what you think it tastes like? Is it nice? Good. Would you like to taste the wine as well? You would? It's going well so far. Just a sip, mind. You want to have a sip? What do you think? Do they taste nice? Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, why would we have bread and wine in our second bag? We've just been eating those rolls at the vicarage, actually. We had breakfast at the vicarage. In fact, we had porridge as well and bacon sandwiches, but we didn't drink wine. You'll be pleased to hear. Well, after Jesus had been at that meal where Mary had taken that beautiful perfume and put it on Jesus' feet, Jesus was having another meal with his disciples. It's interesting how many meals Jesus has with people. I think he really enjoyed having meals with people in their homes. Well, this second meal was on the Thursday evening, the night before the Passover festival. Jesus and his disciples were guests in an upper room of a house, and they were eating roast lamb, not bacon sandwiches, bitter herbs and bread and wine. But then Jesus did something unexpected.
While they were eating, Jesus took bread, gave thanks and broke it, and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take it, this is my body." Then he took the cup, gave thanks, and offered it to them, and they all drank from it. "This is my blood of the covenant."
Well, I wonder what the disciples must have thought of that. What did Jesus mean the bread was his body? What did he mean when he said the wine was his blood? That's very strange. I'm sure the disciples had to think about that. Well, when we take the bread and the wine at communion, as we'll be doing a little bit later, we remember Jesus. We remember the sweetness of the bread and his love for us. We remember the bitterness of the wine and his suffering. So when we take bread and wine later, let's think about that, how Jesus gave his body and his blood for us. Now, my third bag, which says touch. Have we got any more volunteers for today? Anyone else? Joseph, lovely. Thank you. Come and have a look in this third bag, which says touch. Now, do you want to see what you can find in there? Would you like to take it out and tell us what it is? Soap. Do you like soap?
It's quite useful.
Quite useful. Necessary evil, perhaps from time to time. Thank you. So lovely. Thank you. And what does it feel like? It
feels quite hard at the moment.
Yeah.
But then if you put it underwater, then it will probably feel a bit wetter.
Yes. And if it was wet, how might it feel?
A bit sticky.
Sticky. Yeah. It could be sticky. Could be slippery.
Yeah, slippery.
Lovely. Thank you. Well, if you pop that down in front of that one there. Thank you very much. That's the soap. Well, at that meal we were just talking about, Jesus did another strange thing. He got up, he was eating this meal, drinking the wine, and then he got up, took off his cloak, and he wrapped a towel around his waist. And this is what happened next.
After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him.
I wonder what the disciples would have thought of that. What would it feel like if someone who's offering you a meal suddenly gets down on the ground, asks you to take off your sandals and starts washing your feet? Must have felt a bit odd. And I wonder what those disciples' feet felt like. Maybe they were hard and calloused after walking on dusty roads. I wonder what Jesus' hands felt like to the disciples. I imagine they were gentle as he carefully removed the dust and the grime. I wonder whether the disciples thought, oh bother, I should have offered to wash people's feet. Well, Jesus washed the disciples' feet as a sign that those disciples were going to be made clean by his death that would follow on the cross. Those disciples failed Jesus in many ways, just as we sometimes do. But if we're sorry and want to change, Jesus can make us clean again. So next time you get out the soap, you might like to think about that. How are we doing? One more. Any more volunteers to do another bag? Oh, yes, please, Ines, come. That'd be lovely. Would you like to have a look and see what's in our bag about hearing? Aha, what have you found? Earphones, that's exactly right. Do you know how you put them in? Put them in, yeah? Exactly, I often get that bit wrong. That's right. And then you plug that bit in, don't you? Lovely. Have you got a pair at home? You have. Lovely, thank you. Do you want to pop them in front of the hearing bag? Thank you. They help us to hear better, don't they, if we're listening to music or podcasts or whatever. They also block out noise if someone else is listening to music or listening to podcasts or whatever. Well, what happened next has to do with hearing. After Jesus had finished that Passover meal with his disciples, they went to a place called Gethsemane. It was night by now and dark, and I think Jesus must have wanted some time to be quiet and to pray. But he also wanted the disciples to be with him and to listen out with him. And this is what happened.
Jesus took Peter, James, and John along with him, and he began to be deeply distressed and troubled. "My soul is overwhelmed and with sorrow to the point of death," he said to them. "Stay here and keep watch."
Well, I wonder what sounds those disciples would have heard in Gethsemane that night. Maybe they could hear owls hooting. Maybe it was so quiet they could hear the sound of their own breath. I wonder what we can hear now if we stop to listen. Well, in his time of great need, Jesus wanted his friends to keep watch and to listen out with him. In the quiet this evening, before you go to sleep, let's take a moment to thank Jesus for his friendship. Now, we're getting on well through our bags. We've got a fifth sense here, which says sight. Have we got a fifth person who might like to come and have a rummage in the bag and see what's in there? Are we running out of children? Have we got anyone left? Oh, Lucinda. Lucinda, amazing. Lucinda took a starring role on Friday. Oh, Jem as well, how lovely. Took a starring role at our journey to the cross on Friday. Now, would you like to have a look in this bag and see what you can find? Have a little look. Aha, what have you found? Aha, what are in there? What are they, Jem? Glasses, that's right. What's special about them?
They help you see.
They help you see. Do you want to try them on? Jem, do you want to try them on? They're quite cool, these. Do you want to try them on? Oh, Lucinda, you're going to try them on. Wow. Do you want to turn around so we can see you? Don't have to. We'll imagine Lucinda looking extremely cool in her cool shades. Lovely. Well done. Well done. Well, after Jesus had finished praying in the garden, he was led out to die. It was the saddest moment in the whole Easter story. Jesus was nailed to a cross with one criminal on his right and another on his left. And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. And this is what happened next.
It was now about the 6th hour, and darkness came over the whole land until the 9th hour, for the sun had stopped shining.
Well, I wonder what that would have felt like. The sun stopped shining. It was the middle of the day, maybe 12 noon, and suddenly it became as dark as night. And for 3 whole hours, no one would have been able to see where they were going. It was as if everyone had become blind. As Jesus died, it was as though the light of the world had been put out. People were walking around in darkness. It must have been really frightening. Well, when you go to bed this evening and as night falls, let's thank God for light and for the gift of sight. And let's thank him too for Jesus, the light of the world. Now, we've done our 5 senses, but there is one more bag. Now, would anybody like to come and see? Oh, yes, well done, Rowan. I think you've picked the right bag, in my opinion. Would you like to come and have a look and see what you can find in that bag? If you just take one to start with. Don't hold it up. What have you found? Now, would you like to unwrap it? Now, can you tell us which of the senses an Easter egg might represent? Let's have a think. Can you smell it?
You
Can you taste it?
can.
Can you touch it?
Yes.
Can you hear it? If you rustle the paper? No?
Can kind of.
You can, kind of, thank you. Can you see it?
Yes.
Would you like to eat it? My word. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry, I'll find you something else. Well, on that first Sunday morning, 2 days after Friday, when Jesus died, 2 of his disciples, Mary Magdalene and another Mary, went down to the tomb. They were probably just wanting to sit quietly by the tomb and weep for Jesus, their beloved Lord, who had died. But when they got there, they saw that the stone at the entrance to the tomb had been rolled away. And this is what happened next.
An angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He's not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay."
Well, when the women saw that the tomb was empty, all their senses were suddenly alive. They could see that Jesus wasn't there. They could hear the sound of their own cries of joy that Jesus had risen. The smell of death had been replaced with the freshness of the early morning. Maybe they felt the grave clothes that were no longer needed. Maybe they knew as they left the tomb that they'd tasted hope, hope for this life and hope for a life beyond this one. Suddenly they were more fully alive than they had ever been. And Jesus had told them that that would happen. He said, "I have come that you may have life, life in all its fullness." Well, in this bag I also have an Easter egg for everyone this morning. And I was wondering whether the children might like to come. Would you like to come? And I'm hoping you might help me give an Easter egg to everyone in church. Joseph, would you like to come? So, children, if you come, actually what I might do, put them on this tray. That would help, wouldn't it? We need to try and distribute them to the whole congregation. And if they don't have any allergies, they're allowed to eat them. Would you like to take a few each and see if we can make sure that everyone in the congregation gets an Easter egg, including yourselves, of course. Oh, including me, Joseph. Thank you. Let's see. Put your hand up if you'd like an egg. If you'd like an egg.